I don't want to set the world on fire.
Welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of Valve. Oh, wait, no, we're not Valve, are we?
No.
Although our release schedule.
Whatever.
Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of the Foally of Man. My name is Chris, and with me here today,
Robert.
And today we're coming at you not live.
It's not live. It's
No,
not
it's not
live.
live.
Let's not even pretend it's live. I mean, it's live for you and I right now. We are alive.
We have the green screen. We could have, like, massive infernos behind us and start recording on it.
Yeah. The California wildfires are out of control. And then you would just wait for a time of the year when there's a California wildfire.
And you, instead of putting a California wildfire, it would just be like a hearth fire behind us.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we're coming to you live from the, well, I can't actually use the term for the sporting event that's happening next weekend. Because if you use it, they own the rights to it.
Oh.
It rhymes with duper coal. Did you know that? That the term is licensed, and if you use it, you can be pursued by the NFL.
Cool. One more reason to just hate them for everything that they are.
It's one of the reasons, like...
Is it still considered assault if I tell people to spit on them every time I see them?
Yeah. Inciting a riot is not protected speech.
However, questioning whether you're inciting a riot is.
Unless you're a politician, then you can totally incite violence. Exactly. It happens all the time. And none of you in the comments say, it's this person with an R after name, this person with the D after... It's all politicians do it.
It's just children in power.
That's right.
And our comment section is now going to explode. Thank you, kids.
Yeah. Actually, protected speech. Well, we have Europeans and Canadians. And for those of you, what you need to understand is that free speech means that I can tell you to fuck off to your face. And there's nothing you can do about it from a government standpoint. You can totally punch me in the face.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, oh, he gave me a hurt thing.
And at which point it's assault.
And I'm an ethnic minority, so that's a hate crime. So, chew on that.
Okay, anyway. We went down this rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So,
the defense I should have
Project Horizons.
The defense I should have used was I have glasses. You wouldn't hit someone with glasses, would you? Right. Foally of Man. If you've never dined with us before, this is a delicious meal of My Little Pony fan fiction combined with the world of Fallout. And the crux of the show is Chris is a degenerate and also a brony.
I won't deny it.
And also a brony.
Still not denying it.
And I am not a brony. And this show is basically designed to drag me into the pits of hell and torture me with the...
You are the shining beacon of morality in this cesspit of sin.
Though I, like Dante, may wander deep into the pits of sin, I shall stare forward at paradise.
For the Lord is my sake. No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're just going to get right into that one.
Anyway, Project Horizons.
Yeah.
Chapter 18. Do you remember what happened last time?
I don't remember what happened last time, but I remember.
I don't either.
Yeah, I remember what happened in this chapter. That's the nice thing about
story, and so I know where we are. It's just like, wait, what happened last time?
Chris, it's the nice thing about this book is that it's intensely episodic, and so you could have a cursory understanding of the characters and step right in a chapter because shit just happens all the time. Once again, 2/3 of the way through this chapter, they get Blackjack gets abducted again and separated,
pseudo, yeah.
and has all of her barding taken.
I do actually really like this this chapter, and it highlights.
You fucking would.
Okay, I'm not taking it back, especially now.
You want to know what my major?
I'm digging my heels in. I will die on this hill.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Any other useless platitudes that you'd like to add on here? Dance to the beat of your own drum.
Life or liberty, give me death. I don't know.
A man is not an island.
Yeah, that's the other one too.
A man is not an island. He's 1,000 island dressings spread across the stinky sandwich of life.
Okay. Sure. Mm-hmm. Amanda, however, is an island.
And that's why Reuben is a man's name.
Oh. I like Reubens. How dare you?
Do you know what? I love Reubens. I learned something in this chapter.
Okay.
Trigger warning.
Okay.
Blackjack is an autistic savant.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's why she has a hard time having meaningful relationships, making connections to people. She has a weird set of self-rules and laws in the ways that the world is supposed to be.
No, hold
And
on.
she
What you're
also-
saying, you're implying that she is somehow socially, mentally, and developmentally stunted?
Yes.
Oh, no surprise.
And in that way, perhaps, maybe she's a reflection of a portion of the fandom. You know how they say art...
Go ahead and argue with the portion you want.
Yeah.
I mean...
art imitates life?
Well... Yeah, there is something to be said about that. Her characterization seems to change maniacally. I do use more of the actual, like, purposeful maniacal.
It's because she is the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's the god character.
The pony pun of the week.
What can she... The pony pun of the week! Sorry, it's been a couple of months. That one, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been here. But it's like, if it's been a while since you've, made whoopee, and it just comes a little, you arrive at the station a little sooner than you were expecting.
I feel like spontaneous orgasms
I've never
are
had that
actually
happen, but a
disease.
friend of mine told me.
Yep.
I don't have any other friends. It's literally just Chris. So if I tell you a story that a friend told me, it has to be him.
Maybe.
So, sorry, I had to get that out though. But I'm pretty sure Deus Ex Machina is something that we've done a long time ago.
It's hard to keep up.
But I'm glad we found the pony pun of the week. It's been months.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's it's the problem with like, think anime stories. It's the classic, pseudo godlike character that just keeps revealing these powers they didn't know that they had, and it's totally fine. That's a standard story arc style.
Shonen.
Right? Yeah. It's fine. It's not some great criticism, and it's not a criticism of the writing. It's just always very convenient that yes, our main character is tortured, and yet she always is like, well, now I can do this shit. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah.
So.
But it's also true. It is, I think, something that is true of life itself, where if an individual is never tested in a certain way, you can suddenly find that you have the ability to overcome certain obstacles that you were never really presented with or never had the ability or choice to overcome previously, especially if you were in a situation of hardship.
Yeah.
So I think that might be actually a deeper reason why that works overall in the entire genre.
Truthfully, I don't think that the, just saying, oh, well, she's autistic. I think that's such a very glib and kind of easy thing to say. But there is definitely something, she picks up, and clearly it's going to be a story element later, but like she picks up a cello and just plays it and doesn't even have to think about it and can just play it. And that doesn't make any sense in a world that doesn't have magic.
Yeah.
So something else going on there.
There is something else going on there.
We'll figure it out. In chapter 58.
Yeah.
How many chapters are in this book? It's a shit ton. Every time I see like a cursory glance of like chapters in the book, I never read the titles. It's just like, it's always this
72?
Jesus Christ. This one took 2 hours to read through. Like,
this is one of the longest pieces, like connected, like singular pieces of English work. Not published, but just in existence.
Yeah. One day Hasbro might get real cool about this stuff and have licensed. What's his face over at Bethesda would probably be up for it.
Yeah.
Although our theory is that he is K-Cat.
Yeah. Todd Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pete Hines is Somber. New headcanon.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, well, if Hasbro ever tries to come after us for intellectual property rights, we can just mail them a Rose Tico doll. Remember this?
Yeah. Your secret shame. So let's actually get into more of a synopsis of this chapter. There's more flashes. There's lots that happens, lots of exposition, but there's very little of like, to me, there's like 3 or 4 things that we should really focus on.
Yep.
First and foremost is that we find out that our friend who loves the C word.
Yes.
Yes.
Deus,
thank you. He has a memory orb
Mhm.
that he has left specifically for Blackjack. And it's presented to her under the auspices of, like, if you are listening to this, I'm dead. You've probably killed me. Thanks for that. We finally get some character depth to him.
Mhm.
Because, you know, nobody just gets to just be a nebulous monster. They have to have other motivations or things pushing them forward.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And what we kind of hear with him is that we we find out that, you know, he hates her because he just hates everybody, but he also hates Sanguine,
Mhm.
the guy up above him,
Yeah.
and he
The one who holds the lead.
right, and we essentially hear from him or feel from him in the memory orb. He is in constant agony.
Yep.
In fact, he's having to take heavy drugs just to dull the pain. And he says, you know, it's 5 times the strength of anything else that's available. And this is my last vial. This is my last needle. And literally as he moves, Blackjack can feel in her own body through the memory stuff ripping and tearing. He sits down on his haunches and she can literally feel like muscles and organs like pulling apart inside of the body because he's so mechanized.
Yep.
The implants around his eyes have worn away the eyelids around the eyeballs.
Mhm.
He's in absolute, like, even with the pain meds, she's in agony and he's not even flinching. So it just shows you how long he's been in that kind of pain. The one bit of the body that she said the flesh wasn't angry and painful was the penis, of course.
Mhm.
So, and she blew that off.
Yeah. Congrats.
Anyways, what we get from this exposition.
To be fair, he did kind of deserve it.
Yeah. No, he's a monster. I have no sympathy for this.
To
piece
be
of
fair,
shit. I hate it. I really hate it when stories are like, I don't know. It's like, well, they're not all bad. They're really conflicting. It's like, no, I've hated these people for chapters and chapters.
Wait, you didn't love Disney's Maleficent?
Here's the thing. I realize I'm a walking contradiction because I love
Deep characters. You love meaningful.
I love a villain who believes that what they're doing is right. But that's why I don't like Deus, because Deus doesn't believe that what he's doing is right.
Nope, he's just a foot soldier who's angry.
He's just evil.
Mhm.
He's just evil. And I suppose there's a place for that.
A sympathetic evil, but an evil nonetheless.
Right.
Sator.
I guess the reason why oh, well.
Evil nonetheless.
Yeah, but he
started in a sympathetic life. He had a miserable raising.
Sure. But the reason why he works is he believes that what he is doing is right.
Well, it's also because they're paying him and they've given him the amount of power that he's always wanted in his life.
Yes, but he still thinks that what he's doing is protecting.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you should probably not just in a roundabout way say Tenet, the villain from Tenet.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to lead into that. But
the antagonist to the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
So Deus is pissed off at Sanguine for something. We don't get details, but basically it's just like, you know, I hate you, I hate him, but I hate him more. I want to hurt him
because he's making more of this.
Yeah, making monsters. And he even says, you know, he didn't make me. I was a monster before the implants and the cybernetics and that sort of thing. So he gives a little bit of a hint there, and also gives a location to his bunker, his storage shed with all of his toys. Because now, you know, Pip kind of takes on his mantle. Not Pip, God. I knew it would happen. I knew it would happen at some point. Blackjack, you know, kind of takes over his mantle. What's a Ravager? Reaper. I always mess that up.
Okay, I will say the weird, and Somber is not as guilty of this as everything is guilty of this. The weird bullshit naming conventions that are in everything.
Yeah.
Why are they Raiders in Fallout and Bandits in Skyrim and they're Reapers and they're Ravagers and they're Marauders and they're... Stop. Come up with something that's actually fucking original. Use a name. Don't use a descriptor that a million other things have used. Please stop.
Yeah, like the Picos.
Yeah.
Like, Picos are great.
Yeah, because it's from the same story, too.
That's one thing that you could say about New Vegas is like New Vegas, they've got tribes.
Yes.
They don't even call them gangs. They're literally tribes of people.
Mhm.
And they, it's like the Kings and the White Glove Society
And
all
the
this-
Khans.
And the Khans, yeah. Khan!
Which, admittedly, Khan is from Fallout 2. I don't remember if it was actually in Fallout 1. Might be. I haven't played through Fallout 1 enough.
But anyways, I had a thought, and it's here, and it's gone. We'll come back to it. So there's all that going on. They are working their way towards Chapel. They need to get there. I lost my train of thought. Got distracted by the Khans. Talking about the Reapers.
Yeah. Well, we do make it there.
Here we go. Here it is. Finally came back around. We have more interactions with Watcher, and we have more hints at Little Pip in the universe, and we even have all this tongue-in-cheek, talk from DJ Pony about
Toasters.
Yeah, toaster repair pony, toasters and all, and we all know what that means. It's a lot of kind of fan fiction-y fan service, right? But it is again in a chapter setup and payoff, because at the end of the chapter, Blackjack's pit buck is destroyed.
Yep.
And there's kind of, here they finally have the money to get the thing paid for to decode it, and now the pit buck's broken.
Womp womp.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so we know a pit buck technician in the wasteland.
Yeah.
I was told that there wasn't going to be crossover, so I assume that there still won't be crossover. But it feels like it's teasing that you need to meet Little Pip, is what it's teasing.
It's not. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's not fixed by Little Pip.
And Watcher also talks about like how I just I can't trust anybody, and all these people die, and somebody I trusted hurt me and lied to me and took advantage of me, and and Blackjack's like, just go to her. Just go to her.
You can be with Little Pip if you want. Go to her.
You should let her find you. Let her hold you. And it's like, hold a 200-year-old dragon. Sure. But anyways, and it's also not a romantic relationship at all.
No.
But it's, it's a deeper conversation about his trust issues and how he hasn't let anybody in 200 years. And by the end, it's reported, and we're kind of getting a better feel for the timeline where this overlaps with the other story, because this would have been right before they went and attacked, what was it, Thunderhead? What was it in Fallout Equestria?
I think
they meet with Watcher right before they go to.
Yeah, I think it is. Oh gosh, I think it is. It's either Navarro or Thunderhead.
Yeah. Anyways, somebody in the comments will say that we're both idiots. It's for you to know and for me to forget.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I've forgotten to.
It's why I drink.
The characters for me in Fallout Equestria are far more interesting in their dynamics than the locations.
Mm-hmm. So also, we cannot forget that we have Rose and Thorn, a mother and a daughter pair that are traveling with them. And when they get to the manor, why do they go to the manor?
Okay, so what happens is Blackjack's like, it's storming. What could be even worse?
Yeah. And that's when
at least it's not raining.
Yeah, and then she wakes up and she's naked.
Yeah, got struck by lightning directly. Went straight into the pit buck.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
So, in the manor, to kind of summarize how everything goes down there, there's all these signs of aristocrats in various states of death, decay, and ghoulification. Blackjack picks up, an old aristocrat's hip bone, or a series of them, and is using those to slaughter ghouls. We come across a ghoul teacher or nurse in a classroom of ghoul children, a bunch of them. And we also come across Prince Vanity, the corpse of Prince Vanity, and realize that there's yet one more project that we find out about, and how everyone in that manor was basically doomed to die. And Prince Vanity was a marauder, which I assume means more, to you.
Well, it's explained in the story. The Marauders were a specialized group in the military that were kind of covert ops.
Right.
Yeah.
So, here he's,
during the war.
Blackjack thinks of him as a war hero,
Mhm.
but she also realizes that he was kind of complicit with the things that brought the world to an end.
Yeah.
And he obviously regrets that because he realizes what was happening all too late. So,
The curse in this world. Think of Pinkie Pie.
anyways, climax, Blue Blood is there. He's insane.
Yep.
Still insane. And he thinks that Rose is Rarity.
He keeps projecting Rarity onto other mares around him so that he can finally have what he always wanted. Well, and has been denied his entire life.
Something to keep in mind, too, is that somebody can be crazy to begin with, but ghouls' brains rot and decay eventually over time. And so his single-mindedness obsession only gets worse the longer he stays a ghoul.
Oh, yeah.
And before death.
I mean, it's spoken in the lines when he's like, no, you're supposed to be Rarity. You're supposed to tell me I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to get Rose to marry him. And when she refuses and they try and save her, he kills her.
Yeah.
Right in front of Thorn. And basically a fight ensues between Blackjack and he. And he is a much better fighter than she is. He's got a sword and knows how to use it. So he slices her gut open. And, of course, in the moment where he's about to, he's got the sword at her throat and he's about to cut her head off. And then, in steps P-21 and he's like, hey, you son of a bitch or whatever, eat this. And he or looking for this. And he puts the ring on a magical grenade and tosses it at him and blows him to Kingdom Come. And then, yay! Another character that was introduced last chapter is dead now. And orphans everywhere. Sing it with me. Orphans everywhere. Orphans everywhere.
This actually is interesting. It kind of, I would say it contrasts more than parrots, but it contrasts the hospital. So at the very end, you find a whole bunch of...
they save the children.
They save the children, but the children are also still stuck in that mental childlike state, but because they've had the ability to express themselves, they haven't turned psychotic.
Yeah, I mean, they've been able to play
for
200 years. But, still.
Yeah.
So they take the kids.
Mm-hmm.
They take them to chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically where things end.
Yep.
Basically where things end.
I do like the sequence in the house because I think it speaks to what good writing Somber can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely his strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of small vignette within chapters that occurs with the characters. Yeah.
I'm just tired of the trope of Flash. Guess what? Now you're naked, alone, and afraid, and in a cell.
Yeah.
I feel like that's happened a dozen times in the story. It's happened.
No, I'm trying to remember. There's another thing. Oh, it was oh gosh, I can't remember it now. It's a complete total world overhaul for Skyrim. You've no doubt, people have probably no doubt heard of it. I can't even remember the name right now, but there's one that does this thing where the main plot will continuously knock out the main character, and it happens 17 times or something ridiculous throughout the story to force. Because how else do you force a character? In Somber's case, he doesn't have as much an excuse because Blackjack only has the agency that he as a writer imposes onto her.
Right.
But in a game where you control where the player character is going, you kind of have to force them into situations somehow.
Mm.
Ultimately, the only failing of games is the fact that the player can leave at any time. Because otherwise you could force them to do anything and then mock them for forcing them to do anything and then... Bleh.
So, predictions for where the story heads now. We need to track down Deus's gear. That'll happen.
Yep.
The pit buck needs to be repaired.
And we need to make sure that EC 1101 is still on there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where I see the story. And of course, now that Deus is dead, and, now that I feel like there's just worse people behind him.
Yeah.
Bigger forces are now going to clamp down a little tighter.
Yeah. And it's going to be true anyway, just because DJ Pony kind of has this thing where it builds up this protagonist for people to look at as a hero. But the problem is when you do that, what you do is you create a
target.
Oh, well, it's more like a beacon.
Yeah.
A beacon, because some people are going to see it as a target. Some people are going to see it as a virtuous hope. And you're inevitably going to take the powers that be, those who are actually in institutionalized power, whatever that looks like in this setting, and they're going to start moving towards, around, or directly opposed to that beacon.
Right.
And it causes just a whole bunch of political shifting.
Moth to the flame.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've already given you the pony pun of the week.
Yes, we did.
You're welcome.
Happy.
Yes. Housekeeping. I don't know what else there is to say, really.
Not
it's
really.
It's kind of the same thing. It's like I'm not going to make any promises about release schedule. We always try to be better. And then like the holidays hit, and then COVID hit. In my house,
Yeah.
everybody had it.
You got the Rona.
I did get Dorona,
The Rona.
and it was fine. Just fine. Wasn't bad. We were very fortunate.
Mhm.
And yes.
Yep.
The Discord's been lit.
Yeah. AF.
Active in spite of us.
Yeah. So.
But I would also say thank you if you've watched or joined. If you're joining us for the first time, holy shit.
Well, I mean, it's possible because
You know,
there's such a drought that is possible that people's feeds are like, wait, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah. Well, there are people who have discovered the show lately and then they burn through the episodes and have never seen one like, on a regular release schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But going forward, we will continue to be doing what we do. We'll make short little funny videos. We'll keep making more of these. Eventually, we'll get back to the Prey series as well. And if you like what you are watching here, remember, you can always download the audio version of the podcast at foallyofman.libsyn.com, or you can find it on all of your favorite podcast sites, except for Spotify. And that has nothing to do with Joe Rogan or anybody. We've never been Spotify guys. I
don't even know what the process is for that.
No, I just don't like exclusivity in a world with something that's supposed to be free. Like the idea that you'd have a company that's like, well, you can work with me exclusively. It used to piss me off with consoles, and it's like, we have the exclusive rights to release this game.
In my mind, and this has been pulled up before in a lot of conversations. In my mind, when you produce something and you release it onto the internet to people, you're not putting it behind a paywall. You're not putting it behind any kind of like barrier.
That's right.
It's literally out there. It kind of belongs to them.
Yep.
Like if somebody wanted to do a smash cut of us and like clip our words together to say something either hilarious or super insensitive, you know what? It's out there.
Yeah, it's a form of art. Go for it.
I'm not going to say go for it, but I'm not going to promote the idea.
YouTube poop the Foally of Man.
I'm not going to stop you from doing it. I don't think anyone should. You should, and that because it goes for like people who do creative works where it's like paintings or mods or music or even like freeware games. It's like a second that you release that you've let the world have that and you've released it on the internet, it's not really yours to control anymore because you released it, you published it to everyone.
Yes.
With no caveats.
Remember what YouTube said, broadcast yourself.
Mm-hmm. What was it? 2000? It was 2009 when Time Magazine had the you as the person of the year. What a cop out that was.
Picture of a mirror or some dumb shit.
It was so dumb.
Yeah.
Who was wanking off in that office that day? Anyway, any other closing words?
That's a good question. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Take your zinc and use a little bit less heroin. I'm not telling you to stop. I'm not.
Just cut back,
It's not what I'm here to do. I'm just saying all things in moderation.
Yeah.
All things in moderation.
Also stand up every once in a while. Deep vein thrombosis is real.
It's a very real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody where they were like, oh, that only happens. People are like sitting for weeks. It's like, no.
But remember, if you ever want to reach out to us, check out the Discord. It will be in the description below if you're watching the YouTube video. It'll also be in the description of the podcast that you are listening to. Do not be a stranger. It is hella fun in there. And I know that didn't sound very excited, but it is. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's super hella fun. We love getting lit.
The Foally of Man, brought to you by Ben Stein.
Bueller.
Yeah. But also, you could email us at cbpbch@gmail.com. Again, that is cbpbch@gmail.com. One day we might get a different email handle, but for the time being, it still works.
Yeah.
And Twitters and the Facebooks, screw that.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that still uses that thing. So
Yeah.
I would not worry about that there. So for Chris, I am Robert. This has been the Foally of Man. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see y'all next time on the Foally of Man, the show that you just watched, the show that we've been making for years, the show that I would encourage you to continue listening to and watching.
Oh, yeah.
My name is
It's
Robert.
all coming together.
Yeah. My name is Robert. His name is Chris. And this has been the Foally of Man. And if you ever forget the show that you belong,
It's all over, but the cry.
Don't consume that, kids. Don't eat cups.
not once.
Well, maybe once. Just to experience it.
So you tell them to never do it. And then, well, maybe just one time. You would be the worst drug counselor in the world.
Hey,
Jesus Christ. Hey, kids.
Hey, quitters never win.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, kids. Just remember that the Foally of Man says, don't do drugs. Except maybe one time.
The first one's free, he says.
That's right.
I'm the pusher.
I can't sing that song because it's got a gamer word in it.
Anyway.
I love that that's become the universal term for a racial epithet.
It's got a gamer word.
It's going to be the name of this episode. Gamer word.
It's game soft A, not hard R.
Oh, get out of here, you gamer.
Wow. Inflection is important.
But you could really do it with like anything.
Yeah.
You could do it with anything. Like, well, never mind.
Cucumbers. You
That's
could
right.
do it with cucumbers. Anyway,
I know some people who've done it with cucumbers.
would we like to actually get into the episode?
No. It's just this is the show.
This is the show.
This is the show. Welcome to the new Foally of Man. It's the same as the old Foally of Man, but now with half the calories. I mean, no, everybody else, we're fat and happy. Well, half
Bad.
Yeah, half of that equation.